Okay, let's talk about why I don't think Apple is going to make an iPhone with Touch ID in the power button. When we all saw Apple unveil the iPad Air 4, we all thought that this is the future of the iPhone, the Touch ID power button. We were almost positive that the next generation of iPhones will have the Touch ID power button in them. But we were wrong, and here's why. Okay, I have been using this iPad Air 4 for about more than 5 months now, and something that I've realized is I've manually entered my password more times than I have successfully authenticated using Touch ID. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't deny that this sensor is extremely fast when it does work, but the thing is that this sensor is so thin that it barely works. I mean, your finger is usually bigger than this entire Touch ID sensor, which makes it hard for a sensor to scan your finger. You probably registered a different part of your finger in the registration process of the Touch ID for the iPad Air 4, and when you're casually using it, you probably are using a different part of your finger. This is why the older, more larger Touch ID sensor in the older iPhones would work more reliably and more secure. I mean, it's equally secure in this one, but it's just more reliable on the older one, and it's more accurate to say the least. There have been a lot of rumors that there is going to be a Touch ID power button in the upcoming generation of iPhones for the 2021 lineup or even the 2022 lineup. But there have also been rumors for an in-screen Touch ID sensor, which is, in my opinion, more likely to happen. Yes, this was the first generation of the Touch ID power button, and every time Apple has entered a new biometric authentication, they have updated it into a second generation of it. Like the iPhone 5S came with the first generation of Touch ID, and the 6S came with the second generation. The iPhone 10 came with first generation of Face ID, and the 2018 lineup, which is the iPhone XR and XS, came with the second generation of Face ID. We do expect a better generation of this Touch ID power button, but just think of it. What better can Apple do? They can't just increase the size to make it circular because the iPhone can't be that thick. But of course, you can get it to work. Maybe if Apple improves the reliability even by a little bit and at a point where you can place it perfectly and get it to work. But just think of it. Every time you unlock your device on iPhone, you have to think of the unlocking process. Apple doesn't want you to do that. Have you ever seen or have you ever experienced unlocking your iPhone with Face ID? You'd never think of it. You just open it and swipe up, it's into the home screen. That's how Apple wants it to be. Apple wants the Touch ID process to be as seamless as Face ID. Apple has always been about this simplicity and smooth experience that you can only get from Apple. And in the case of Face ID as well, like I said, you don't even think about it. It's just so smooth. Unless you're wearing a mask, which is pretty much the reason why we are going to be needing Touch ID in the first place. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, a sub to the channel would be spectacular. Another valid reason is that the power button is more like a power off button for most of the people. Most people use the iPhone with the double tap to wake feature and not the power button. And as me, someone who uses this feature extensively, will be disappointed if I have to click the power button, because this is just a massive inconvenience if that happens. I'm pretty sure Apple knows about this, and this is why they will prefer in-screen Touch ID sensors. That's pretty much why I think the next generation of iPhones are not coming with a Touch ID power button, unless they have some tricks up their sleeve. Let me know in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree with me and why. I'll be hanging down there. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your support. I'll catch you in the next one. And then, peace. And the 6S came with the second generation.